and welcome. I'm Natalie. Let's talk about money. So, today we're going to talk about broke to budget. How you can perhaps be broke, but do a budget, get out of debt, and get unbroke, basically. So, there's lots of different ways people do their finances. Lots. Some people just ignore it and just whatever happens, happens. Other people are, line by line, penny by penny budgeters. Other people just kind of somewhere in between. Kind of keep track, kind of know what's going on, but not the details. So let's go ahead and get into some of the details. So for the most part in America, and it's seemingly getting worse, in America, the struggle is a real thing. It's actually happening. It is here. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to everyone. However, there is some sort of struggle for everyone in some manner. And finances many times has a lot to do with that. So for me, I've explained before that I was married. My husband has since passed, but I was married and we did have to file for bankruptcy because of the hole that we dug. We couldn't get out of that hole. And it was a traumatic thing. And so I do not encourage anyone to go through a bankruptcy. I mean, traumatic is kind of strong maybe, but it's not something I would recommend anyone do. However, one good thing came out of it. My late husband and I learned how to budget and learned how to keep track and how to care about where our money went. Instead of just letting it, willy-nilly go wherever, we learned how to care. And so we learned if we make $1,000, we have to spend less than $1,000. If we make $10,000, we must spend less. That's something we apparently didn't know before. So that it did help us learn that. And it's important to understand your personal situation, because if you don't even know where you're at financially, you won't know how to budget. You won't know where you're going. You won't be able to set goals, none of that. So it's important to know your personal financial situation. And then, sometimes people, when you don't budget and you don't pay attention, you have a much higher chance of overspending or getting like overdraft fees, which means you've overspent, or you don't save any money for your future, so you have no retirement, or you don't have an emergency fund. When something big happens, you have to pull out a credit card instead of pulling out a debit card. Like, this is what happens when you are kind of mismanaging your finances. And so this is why it's important to avoid all those pitfalls. Now, the main way to get yourself in order and to make sure that you're on track where you want to go is to track your spending. So budgeting. Now, I speak highly of Every Dollar, which is the Ramsey Solutions answer to budgeting. And to me, it is the easiest program in the world to use. I literally gave it to my mom, and she's 83. She just turned 83 and she has dementia. She was able to figure out a budget. Okay. So it's the easiest program to use. You literally just put your numbers in and the budget will tell you when you're over, when you're under, what you can spend, you have to tell it where you can spend, but you put the numbers in and it will help guide you so that you are staying on budget. So there are some, kind of basic rules about budgeting. First is just to set achievable goals. So if you make $5,000 a month, don't make the goal be that you only want to spend $500 a month. Actually, that would be the 10 and 1 rule. So maybe you should do that. Make financial goals that are reasonable. So if you right now make $2,000 a month and you have no plans of changing jobs or anything like that, but you currently make $2,000 a month, and your goal over the course of the next 6 months, or maybe over the course of the next year, is to suddenly jump to $10,000 a month, that may not be realistic. And so that may need some tweaking so that you're not letting yourself down. You want to set goals that are achievable. SMART goals, right? That's what they taught us in school, SMART goals. So keep that in mind. Set your goals at points at which you can attain, but don't make them so easy that it's just like I just won't buy a Starbucks today. Make it a little tougher than that. And then when you are doing a budget, it's important to update it consistently. Now, I update it as often as I can, typically after I've spent money, but definitely every weekend I go through and I update my budget. I jot down whatever I spent. And then if any money came in, I put that in the budget as well. I say jot down. That's not what I mean. It's all on the phone. It's all in an app. You know, it's not paper. We're not putting pen to paper. We're not using Excel spreadsheets anymore. Like that was in the 90s. We're done with that now. So you just want to make sure that you continuously update your budget so it's reflective of what's actually happening. Because if I budget $500 for the month to spend on groceries, but I've already spent $600, well, that's just unrealistic. And neither of those numbers mean anything because you don't even know where you're at. So make sure it's achievable and make sure you actually stick to it. Now, if you get paid every week, you probably want to adjust your budget every week. If you get biweekly, if you're paid biweekly, do it biweekly. If you're monthly, do it monthly, you know, etc. Make it so that it makes sense for your life, your lifestyle, and your budget as well. And then when you can create a budget and you can stick to that budget, it gives you the feeling of freedom. It gives you the feeling that everything is going to be okay. Now, maybe your budget is tight. Maybe you don't have a lot of extra money to put in the miscellaneous category or to put toward savings or to put toward your debt payoff or whatever. But you want to stay on whatever budget it is that you make. You want to stay on that budget because it gives you peace. It gives you freedom to know that, well, I know that I've got $1,500 that's going out in these bills, and I know that after that I'll have $1,500 left over to put into savings or whatever your situation is. Make sure that you follow that budget so that first your finances will benefit because you're following a set budget that you have the plan for. You set that plan, but also again mentally, it's such a peaceful road when you know where your money's going and you know you don't have to worry about anything, and you know even if the struggle is real, which it is, you know that you'll be okay. And if it's not going to be okay, then maybe we need to look at a second income source or a third income source for that matter. But if you keep a budget, you will at least know where you stand and where you can give. If you can't pay for all 6 credit cards that you have, you need to figure out a plan of how to make it work, how to make your 6 credit card payments. So this is where making a budget comes into play, because when you budget, you know how many dollars you have, because that's the first number you enter is how much money you make, and then you enter in all the expenses. And when you enter in all your expenses, you need to cut whatever you don't need or whatever is not absolutely necessary. If it's not your food, your housing, your water, your electricity type of bills, your absolute mandatory bills, it probably needs to go away. It probably needs to get rid of. And I realize, like, if you have Hulu and it's $5.99 a month, that doesn't seem like much. But if you have 10 accounts that are $5.99 a month, that's $60 that you could get rid of and have in your pocket to either pay for groceries, pay for debit card or credit cards, pay for your car payment or whatever else. So be sure to follow that budget, to just let yourself relax and let yourself feel the freedom of knowing where your money is going. And then there's some people that I found on YouTube, and I don't know, I haven't watched all their videos. I just watched a few minutes of a couple different videos, but maybe you want to check out, like I have them down in the description box below if you do want to click on the link of the video that I watched. But one of them was Jennifer Cook. She has a story about getting out of debt and how she did it and how she continues on to be frugal. And then Rachel Hickey, she had a tremendous amount of student loan debt. And she started off with, I think, more than $250,000 in debt in student loans. She still is in debt, but she goes through, in the video I watched, she goes through and talks about how she got out of the other consumer debt and how she's continuing to live while paying off her debt. And so those are two people that I found that were somewhat inspiring and interesting to watch. So you might want to check those out. Again, I'll put their links in the description box below so you can see that. And then just, lastly, I just encourage you to actually take action. So watching YouTube is number one, right? That's step one is watch and figure out what to do. But you have to then take action. So you have to then go download an app to do your budgeting. I, again, recommend every dollar. Excuse me. I recommend every dollar, but there's tons of budgeting apps. My only thing is that I would recommend you use a free version of whatever budgeting app you find. Use the free version. Because why do you want to pay to get yourself out of debt, right? So if you're in debt and you're looking for a budgeting app, use a free version of whatever you find. Again, I recommend the free version of every dollar, but there are hundreds of budgeting apps online, okay? And then also, you want to start small. So this is literally true for if you're in debt and getting out of debt. So if you have 3 debts that you're paying off, you have a personal loan, you have a credit card, and you have medical bills. And personal loan is $2,000, credit card is $5,000, what did I say? The third one was student loans. Student loans is $56,000. Start with that smallest debt, that $2,000 debt, because when you start to pay that off and you put all your power into that and you pay that bill off, you have some encouragement there. You have some proof that it works. And then when you pay off that first debt, or maybe it's your second, or maybe it's your 10th, celebrate that. Take yourself out to dinner. Take yourself out to a movie or something, or relax and don't clean that day or something. Celebrate your win, because that's a win. When you pay off a debt, that is a win. And you need to feel that win so that you are ready to head to the next debt. And also, when you're all done paying all your debt off, you have to be ready to stay in the debt-free mode. You have to feel that peace, feel that happiness when you don't have any debt that's holding you down and holding you back and avoiding you from making money in an investment account. Okay? So, as always, I encourage you to invest in yourself today so you can make a difference for others tomorrow. And go ahead and give the video a big thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe. When you subscribe, you should hit the bell so you know when the next video comes out. I thank you so much for stopping by today. Y'all have a great one.